Yeah, I just forgot to start the recording. So, Taru, would you like to just maybe go over it again once more?
Yeah, with pleasure. Yeah. Some give their soul to the divine from their life, some offer their work, some their money. A few consecrate all of themselves and all they have: soul, life, work, wealth. These are the true children of God. Others give nothing. These, whatever their position, power, and riches, are for the divine purpose valueless ciphers. This book is meant for those who aspire for an utter consecration to the divine, the Mother.
Thank you. So, today we have May 12, 1914 with us. So, let us first read this prayer and then all of us can share our reflections. Yeah, anyone who wants to read it, please go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. More and more, it seems to me that we are in one of those periods of activity in which the fruit of past efforts becomes apparent. A period in which we act according to thy law in the measure in which it is the sovereign controller of our being, without having even the leisure to become conscious of the law. This morning, passing by a rapid experience from depth to depth, I was able, once again, as always, to identify my consciousness with thine and to live no longer in aught but thee. Indeed, it was thou alone that was living, but immediately thy will pulled my consciousness towards the exterior, towards the work to be done, and thou said to me, be the instrument of which I have need. And is not this the last renunciation, to renounce identification with thee, to renounce the sweet and pure joy of no longer distinguishing between thee and me, the joy of knowing at each moment, not only with the intellect, but by an integral experience, that thou art the unique reality and that all the rest is but appearance and illusion. That the exterior being should be the docile instrument which does not even need to be conscious of, the will which moves it, is not doubtful. But why must I be almost entirely identified with the instrument, and why should not the I be entirely merged in thee and live thy full and absolute consciousness? I ask, but I am not anxious about it. I know that all is according to thy will, and with a pure adoration, I trust myself joyously to thy will. I will be what thou wouldst have me be, O Lord, conscient or inconscient, a simple instrument as is the body, or a supreme knowledge as art thou. Oh, the sweet and peaceful joy when one can say all is good and feel thee at work in the world through all the elements which lend themselves to that transmission. Thou art the sovereign master of all. Thou art the inaccessible, the unknowable, the eternal and sublime reality. O marvelous unity, I disappear in thee.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so anyone who feels like sharing their thoughts and reflections on the prayer.
I just want to share how exterior things pull our consciousness from things. Yesterday, my experience, I was all ready for Savitri classes, and there was an invitation to go to Sangam. You must be knowing it, Allahabad. There's a Kumbh Mela is going on here, and it's beautiful scene over there, night. And I was thinking not to go, but it allured me, and I went. But I was not feeling good. And when I came back, there was complete emptiness within me. Which was not pleasant in the sense. I don't know what was that. It was that when I only connected myself with mother or with reading, then only I could go to sleep. So only this line, when I read this, I was thinking about that, the same thing which happened with me.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Yes.
Every morning we pray that we remember you always in all the things, and remember, then you forget. Then again, this remembering and reminding, this game goes on.
Yeah. We are very forgetful. All of us. All of us are. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have thankfully many pointers and reminders, which we can time to time
Yes.
use whenever we forget. Yeah. So thank
Yes.
God for
Yes.
that. Thank God for Savitri. Yeah,
Yes.
that
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Definitely. Definitely.
Thank you for sharing. Yes. So anyone else wants to share anything?
Hi, Monica ji. So, Jishnu here. And when I read this, what it comes to me is Mother is talking of a very high state of consciousness where there is absolutely no difference between the divine and her. And to the extent, like what happens is when we say there are currents or waves, and that is what she's saying, that if when she was having that experience in the depth of the being, the divine consciousness pulled her to the exterior to remind her about the work that needs to be done. And after that, she is talking about that thing of that state where there is absolutely negation of herself, and it's a complete identification with the divine, so that there is no difference, not even that will. In this place, what happens is we are exerting a will, or we can see that our different parts are adhering to a high will to do something. And she is exactly saying that there is no necessity in that state for a separate will. The body or the parts will, or the being will automatically act in accordance to the divine will. I think it's like people speak of different philosophies, people speak of different states of consciousness. But when I read this and when I reflect a bit, I feel that she is speaking of a very, very, like Ramakrishna Dev said, that the salt, it's an idol of salt or a doll of salt which came to sea. And since it's made of salt, it got merged with the sea. There is no separate identity. Very simply, he put the example, and that comes to my mind that mother is talking of that state of consciousness. Of course, she puts it in a poetic way. She puts words to all these ideas. But ultimately, this is the essence that I gather from this prayer.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, Taru, please, I think you wanted to add on or share.
Yeah, honestly, after Jishnuji, nothing I think I would want to say. I just wanted to say something very, kind of on a very whatever. So I'll go now. So this morning, I read somewhere that there was this thing with a small cottage, a picture of a cottage, and somebody had written that, some people want a mansion, sports car, money, this, that. I just want a small house on a Greek island away from other people. So I thought just, it's like, it's sounding so funny. And yet, is it not what I do, right? Like, I just keep changing what I want, not realizing that it's just me wanting again. Like the subtle ways in which the desire still operates in me is very intriguing. And yet, here, mother says that let me disappear in you, right? Like, we all know we are moving towards, aspiring towards that consecration, that disappearance, and yet we are not able to even see the hundreds or thousands of subtle desires, wants, this I around which I keep rotating knowingly or unknowingly. It's very intricate, it feels, like the roots are too deep and a lot of grace is needed to let go of. Because when I make a statement like that, oh, I just want that. There's something in me which feels that, oh, mera ho gaya, I'm so sorted. I don't want what the others want, and yet I don't see I'm still wanting. Yeah, thank you.
Very important, yes. And I think as we reflect upon these prayers, since you said in the beginning that, of course, from which state mother is writing, I am not sure whether we can, really fathom. But to with our limited whatever vision she has granted us, and since these words are with us all the time, we can pick up and we can read and reflect, and that's what mother has suggested. So I think there is no superior or inferior way of reflecting here, really. I mean, whatever resonates with us in any state of being that we are right now, that's my takeaway from the prayer. And that's how this has been progressing, that's how we have been reflecting. Otherwise, we can also say that, no, I can't dare to touch prayers and meditations, we can also say that, but we are not saying that. We are shamelessly reading and reflecting with mother's grace on the prayers. So because we are her children, and it's our birthright to ask from the mother with all, all the grace and wisdom or understanding. So yeah, I feel that all the reflections are good reflections. So just wanted to add. Yeah.
We become what we adore.
Yeah,
Let's
so
move
true.
towards what we adore. And that is 100%. There is never a hierarchy. It is only the sincerity. Mother has spoken this somewhere. She said that somebody spoke about this, asked this question to mother, and she said it is a question. She answered very beautifully. She said, what happens is there might be what she came down to is that it's the sincerity of the aspiration which is important and nothing beyond that. She said, what to the divine, to normal human beings it is different because they are seeking different things, but to the divine they see the sincerity, and that is the only thing which is valuable for all of us.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yes. Yes, Shweta.
Yeah. So, what stands for me is also the way mother is saying that, you want me to work in the exterior. That is also the divine wish. And you know where I am right now, and you will always hold me and take me forward. That is what even, like I feel that the work is through the exterior world also, no?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. And that's where, Mother says, let's come back to the prayer again, where she says that, and is not this the last renunciation? To renounce identification with thee. So just, and Alugda was also sharing that how Buddha, he said that we wrongly misunderstand Buddha, but actually he got nirvana, and then he said that no, I want to be here for the liberation of so many suffering beings. And this is the divine compassion that we talk of, that one can be lost in that state, totally spirit is merged in the divine, but there is work to be done. And integral yoga, I think, so much as we understand, the work is to be done, and not, mother has never talked excessively about too much meditation, too much concentration. She always has talked about in works how we can use our realizations, and in work how those have to be perfected. Like we talk about, yeah, please go ahead, I can just go on like that. So Shweta, yeah.
Yeah, no, no. What comes to me is like mother speaks about being the instrument. So
Hmm.
I think being the instrument to do the work,
Hmm.
that that's what I felt
Hmm.
resonated. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yes. So let's go over it again. I'm sure more insights may come, and like Jishnuji was also saying, and it's okay to whatever takeaway we have from this prayer. It's our takeaway, so we can be grounded there. And let's go over it again. And if there are reflections in between, please feel free to unmute and share. So May 12, 1914, I think it's translated by Sri Aurobindo himself. There is a star here. More and more, it seems to me that we are in one of those periods of activity in which the fruit of past efforts becomes apparent. A period in which we act according to thy law. Since we see in all the prayers and aspirations of the mother that there has been a continuous, unfaltering aspiration to be united with the divine. So again and again, setting our inner compass right, in every moment, wherever we slip, again setting it right. Like Anjali ji was sharing in the beginning, that's something I felt uneasy with. I indulged in something which maybe was not necessary for me, and then I had to set my inner compass right, because something in us is aspiring for that unification and for that intimacy with the divine. So again and again setting that inner compass right. So mother says that then there comes a time that all this discipline that has been maintained, it begins to yield result very obviously. Like it's, just like we are playing any musical instrument. In the beginning we are playing it not sounding very good, just the basic things, even those we can't do it properly. Then again and again we realign, sare gama pada, again do re mi fa sol la ti, we realign ourselves, no matter how boring it may at times be for us, but we want to, so we put ourselves to that realignment. And then one day we begin to play a little piece, and that plays out in nice perfection. Of course one can improve further, but it is identified with that perfection that we had been disciplining ourselves for. So more and more it seems to me that we are in one of those periods of activity in which the fruit of past efforts becomes apparent. So just like Oprah Winfrey was asking Thich Nhat Hanh that, how are you like this, the way you are? And he says that, I'm trained. That's my training. A period in which we act according to thy law in the measure in which it is the sovereign controller of our being, without having the leisure, even the leisure to become conscious of the law. So one is so aligned with the divine law, there is no disalignment, misalignment. There is not even thinking about the divine law. Kabirji has talked about saidsta. He has talked that this way is sahaj, it's like effortless. But all of us know that how much of effort has to be put to regain that simplicity and effortlessness. All of us know that, because there are so many pretenses which have become natural to us. So without even thinking, one is effortless. In the beginning, I am effortless by putting effort, by knowing, do I really want this? Do I really, want to say this? So one has to put effort to be truly oneself, to be acting from the inner being. And slowly, 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 that becomes my ease. So the moment there is misalignment, one automatically corrects, because that's not who we are. So one is not even having the leisure to become conscious of the law. Such a, as Jishnuji was talking in the beginning, so such a state has been established. And before this prayer, we also see in the prayer of May 10, Mother actually talks about this. Maybe we can go through this and then we see that what kind of a state is kind of going on. It is thy sweet joy, O Lord, that fills my heart. It is thy silent peace that reigns over my mind. All is repose, force, concentration, light, and serenity. And all this is without any limit, without any division. Is it only the earth, or rather the whole universe that lives in me? So what Jishnuji was talking about, such a state, such an like a united state with the divine consciousness, that Mother says, is it only the earth, or rather the whole universe that lives in me? I do not know, but it is thou, O Lord, who dwellest in this consciousness and givest it life. It is thou who seest, knowest, actest. It is thou alone whom I see everywhere. Or rather, there is no longer any I that sees. Any I, all is one, and this oneness is thou. So this has been the state. We get a reflection of that unification. And then mother says that I am as if pulled into the outer. So this is a continuation. And then this morning, passing by a rapid experience from depth to depth, I was able once again, as always, to identify my consciousness with thine, and to live no longer in aught but thee. Indeed, it was thou alone that was living, but immediately thy will pulled my consciousness towards the exterior. So there is, as I think we were reflecting, that there is no separate will that is wanting this and that and this and that. First, again, everything has a place, right place. So first, that separate will has to rise, keep rising, keep at it. And then in this merger, there is no separate individual will that I want to be here or there, or not here and not there. It was you, she says, it was you who pulled my consciousness towards the exterior, because there is no will from my side to be there. There is no my here. So it must be you only, towards the work to be done. So since I have now allowed the divine to take charge, that has happened. So the divine is now guiding. Okay, where is the work pending? So enough of being merged in the divine consciousness. Now this is where the next work lies. So as if like that, she was guided, as if thy will pulled my consciousness towards the exterior, towards the work to be done. And thou saidst to me, be the instrument of which I have need. This reminds me of, what Champaklalji said to the mother after many years of serving her, that so far I have served you as I wanted, but now I want to know how you want me to serve you. So no preference there, that this is the way that suits me best, this is what I'm skilled at, so this is what I will be doing, this is how I want to offer my life to the divine. There is nothing like that. So, and we see many examples in people who were living in the ashram, that they were put into departments where actually they would not want to be, and but the divine saw something and the divine put them there. I think it was Nirodha who was put in timber department, and then he's wondering that why am I, what is a doctor doing in timber department, and maybe other people are also commenting upon it. And then Sri Aurobindo talks about it to him, and he says that both the timber department has done you good and you have done good to the timber department, so all good. Although it may logically may not makes any sense that what is a doctor like me with this qualification, this expertise is doing in that department. So be the instrument of which I have need, not what I want to be. I want to now remain merged in this or that state, but the divine, since there is a communion, there is also this knowing that what the divine wants. So be the instrument of which I have need. And mother says, and is not this the last renunciation? To renounce identification with thee, to renounce the sweet and pure joy of no longer distinguishing between thee and me. This separative, divisive consciousness, this, eats us up. You, me, others, me, my family, others' family. I am inferior, he's superior, I am inferior. This eats us up. So how beautiful would it be to be in such a state where is no division, and yet that's not the last thing. And Sri Aurobindo talks about it, that nirvana is the first step of integral yoga. In some other yogas, it is the last step, mukti or nirvana. But in integral yoga, because the work is to be done in this very life, which is outer, the manifestation of life. So nirvana, or that realization of true identity, is the first beginning step, and only then I can tune in the instrument with that higher light within. The joy of knowing at each moment, not only with the intellect, but by an integral experience that thou art the unique reality, and that all the rest is but appearance and illusion. Right now, for me, all that I touch, see, feel, hear is real, concrete. All the relations around me are concrete. They are calling me again and again. But mother in me is not concrete. It comes and goes in glimpses. I am with the mother, but then I am not with the mother consciously. Because some other concrete reality blows me away. So mother says that such a state where there is no longer any distinguishing between thee and me, and the joy of knowing at each moment, not only with intellect. Right now it's a mental understanding for us, most of us, so not only with intellect, but a bodily integral experience in thought, feeling, and body and the spirit, that you are the only reality, the unique reality, and that all the rest is but appearance and illusion. And illusion not in the sense of it is not there, illusion in the sense that we see not the way things are, we see them distorted. There is a rope, but I see it as a snake. It's not that the rope is not there, relatively it is there. So if a truck is coming, the truck can hit me if I say no, nothing is there. So on a relative level, things are there, but how we interpret things is not they are how they are. So we see them with a distorted lens, and hence it is very good to be unsure of our thoughts, because the only thing I can be sure of is that I have a distortion in my vision. So that's how we can empty and silence the mind, so that the higher knowledge can dawn upon. Because if I'm too sure and certain of my thoughts, then the higher knowledge has no space. The space is not empty, the cup is not empty. I don't need it. Too much belief in my ideas and what I think about life and myself. That the exterior being should be the docile instrument which does not even need to be conscious of the will which moves it is not doubtful. So of course she says that the exterior being should be aligned with the higher will. It doesn't even need to be conscious, because that's only the thing that it lives for, following the divine will. So there is no choice, there is no other thing, and that is why there is no thinking about it. It's like, I am hungry. How simple is it? I just have to eat. There is no question about it for most of us. So it is just like the hunger pang comes and I eat. No question here and there. So the exterior being should be docile instrument which does not even need to be conscious of the will which moves it, is not doubtful. But why must I be almost entirely identified with the instrument, and why should not the I be entirely merged in thee, the experience that she had, and live thy full and absolute consciousness? So this is the question that comes, that you are the one who has taken me, my attention, my consciousness, identified again with the exterior. So the question comes that why can't I be there, the space that you so concretely have been through and experiencing? But here comes the catch, because most of us, it happens that these little things come and go, and we become restless. We become like, why am I not there? Why am I not there? The thing that I touched. So mother says, I ask, but I am not anxious about it. How amazing would be that state, where one has, the unfolding is yet to happen. One is not completely, it's not out in open, and that's how we see with even avatars, that unfolding happens. With Meher Baba's life, we see that how in the beginning he was, going through so many different experiences, and uh, even for avatars, like unfolding has to happen. Like it's not that all is already known. Of course many things are known, but still, because there is a point of free will at each moment, so there are many open gaps also, I believe, that the unfolding always is there. So mother says, I ask, but I am not anxious about it. And I feel that this can also touch, for me it touches when one is truly in, in one gives oneself in love. There is no other option one gives oneself. So if one has to wait, there can't be any restlessness, because there is no option, there is a choicelessness. that I have to be here because I have to be here. There is no other option. So then there is no point of restlessness, because restlessness would come where I am wanting as a means to an end to reach somewhere. But being in love, or offering ourselves in love, that itself is so much joy that where does one wants to reach? So I ask, but I'm not anxious about it. I know that all is according to thy will. So that certitude is embedded in the being. And with a pure adoration, I trust myself joyously to thy will. So I can resonate this somehow with when one is really feeling a lot of love. There is no restlessness there. I'm not talking about the usual emotion mixed love that is there, full of disappointments, vital and entanglements. But if one is able to refine love, then there is no choice, and hence there is no restlessness. So I trust myself joyously to thy will, because I know that it's only you and nothing else. So whatever is happening, of course, I am guided. I shall be what thou wouldst have me be. O Lord, conscient or inconscient, how does it matter? At time I am conscious of you, and now you've put me in this inconscience. Completely fine. And that I believe, because that certitude would come with these stabilizing of experiences. They become so solid and concrete, what Mother was sharing earlier, that then there is no doubt that there is anything else but the divine. So how can one go wrong, because there is no separate will wanting anything else. So conscient or inconscient, wherever you want to me to be, I'll be there. In the drain or out up in the heaven, doesn't matter. A simple instrument as is the body, or a supreme knowledge as art thou. So if I am identified with the body right now, I know it is a purpose, I know it has a purpose. Or when I am identified with thy supreme vision, supreme knowledge, that also is good. I believe this is, I don't know, maybe one of the heights of that samarpan, which we say, surrender in Hindi, samarpan in Hindi and surrender in English, where there is no separate asking at all. Oh, the sweet and peaceful joy when one can say all is good and feel thee at work. How beautiful, that joyous inner state where, since we know that there is nothing but the divine, one has concretized that experience. So what is the restlessness about? All is good. Whether I'm in the jail, or in the family, or out in the forest, or on the bed, or in the bathroom, locked somewhere, all is you. So all is good, and feel thee at work in the world through all the elements which lend themselves to that transmission. So everything, knowingly or unknowingly, is working for the divine. But with our distorted perceptions, we don't see. And that's why we fight. Because I feel that I am right and what is happening is not right. So we fight about it, we fight ego clashes and clashes of opinions. Thou art the sovereign master of all. Thou art the inaccessible. So Mother, we have learned through mystics and masters that we cannot grasp this source, the divine or the unique reality, with whatever name we can call it. In Gurbani, there comes many names which are like agay, you can't know it. A नाम जिसका कोई नाम नहीं है, although उसके several नाम है, but उसका कोई नाम नहीं है. Aniket, so many words come which are like qualifications for that divine reality, or our trying to represent that how it is. Unknowable, that which cannot be known, agye. Inaccessible, that which cannot be gotten, we can't grasp it. So aprapya, we can't hold it in our hands. We can experience, we can be, but we can't say that, oh, now I have got it, like I hold something in my hands. So inaccessible, the unknowable, the eternal and sublime reality. Oh, marvelous unity, I disappear in thee. And this disappearance, I feel that it comes again and again with mother's prayers and meditations. And whenever mother sees that there is something in the surface which is agitated, and this is again my personal takeaway, what I have taken away and used also for myself, because many a times one is confused, there are things in life which are not making sense, one is trying to make sense, not working out in the mind. And mother says that what is the use of this surface agitation? The only way we can resolve all this is to take a deep dive and disappear in that communion. And that's the best resolution, and whatever then next is to be done is shown to us, intuitively. And this mother reveals to us in many, many prayers. So that's my few takeaways, for when one looks at it. Yeah, so any additions, any reflections, any insights, please add on. We see it in Savitri also, I think those of us who are familiar would know, where Savitri is given all kind of boons and this piece and that realm, but she just gives up everything. She says no, because I don't want myself just to be happy. I want it for the world. I want it for the earth. That's where I want to take it. And that's what we see with the Buddha, for example, that in prayers and meditations, again and again, mother starts with describing her state, and then she again like embraces the whole of existence, and she says that as if the whole earth is aspiring with me. This also comes with in Buddhism, where when you are doing these rituals of prostrating, practices, they say that you have to imagine that all the sentient beings are prostrating with you. So you are doing prostrations on their behalf. So I feel that since mother also, had been a Buddhist, if I can say, so we see those reflections, and we in other prayers we also see reflections of Tonglen, where through your own suffering you connect with the suffering of all others, and then you take everything up, you uplift it. So yeah, that's for me it's very visible. Yeah, so yes, please, I am happy to take a breather. And if anyone wants to add on, please add on.
What you were talking about again, right? Like the Vedantic origin. Even I remember when we read Life Divine and we started it. That's how it started, right? That yes, it's not possible to know it, but you can become it. Right? There's bad news that you can't know it, but there's good news that yes, you can't know it, but you can become it. So again and again, it points out to these mental images, right? That we stick to like it's like I think again transcendence needs to happen with what you were just discussing. That even if I'm say like you said in bed, again if I that faith is there that and again not talking about laziness and yet how there are so many variations and dispersions, but the basic center from where you're operating, if that center is standing on faith, right? How mother says that stand on faith as one stands on a rock, then it's easy to, because you will get dispersed, but it's easy to come back. It's easy to come back. That not that, not that, not that. Yeah, thank you.
I'm reminded of Sri Aurobindo's Jivan Mukta. Some of us may have read about it. It is in commentaries on Ishavasya Upanishad. So I thought maybe, I don't know, it's a longer one, but maybe we can read a couple of lines. It's like a dialogue between the student and the guru. And I feel it's very, very beautiful. So, yeah, it would be interesting to read it. So maybe we can go through a few lines here and then stop wherever organically we feel like stopping. Yeah, so maybe starting from here, the student, will then the Jivan Mukta actually wish to live 100 years, as the Shruti says? So if one of you can maybe, maybe, we will see how much we want to read. And those of us who are having some other appointment, you can leave as per your convenience. But those of us who want to stay, they can stay and we can go through this. So anyone who feels like reading.
I'll read. The will then the Jivan Mukta actually wish to live 100 years, as the Shruti says? Can one who is Mukt have a desire? The Guru. The Jivan Mukta will be perfectly ready to live 100 years or more if needs to be. But this recommendation is not given to the Jivan Mukta or to any particular class of people, but generally. You should desire to live your allotted term of life because you're in a body, are the Brahman who, by the force of his own Shakti, is playing for himself by himself this Leela of creation, preservation, and destruction. In this view, Brahman is Isha, the Lord, creator and destructor, and you also are Isha, creator and destructor, only for your own amusement. To use a violent metaphor, you have imagined yourself limited by a particular body for the purpose of the play, just as an actor imagines himself to be Dushyanta or Rama or Ravana, and often the actor loses himself in the part and really feels himself to be what he's playing, forgetting that he is really not Dushyanta or Rama, but that Devadatta who plays 100 parts besides. Still, when he shakes off this illusion and remembers that he is the Devadatta, he does not therefore walk off from the stage and by refusing to act, break up and play, but goes on playing his best till the proper time for the curtain to fall. And so we should all do, whether as householder or sannyasi, as Jivan Mukta or as Mumukshu, remembering always that the object of this samsara is creation and it is our business so long as we are in this body to create. The only difference is this, that so long as we forget ourselves, we create like servants under the compulsion of our prakriti or nature and are, as it were, slaves and bound by her actions, which we imagine to be ours. But when we know the self and experience our true self, then we are the masters of our prakriti and not bound by her creation. Our soul becomes the sakshi, the silent spectator of the actions of our nature. Thus, are we both spectator and actor? And yet, because we know the whole to be merely the illusion of an action and not action itself, because we know that Rama is not really killing Ravana, nor Ravana is being killed. For indeed, Ravana lives as much after the supposed death as before. So we are neither actor nor spectator, but the self only. And all we see only visions of the self. As indeed the Shruti frequently uses the word ekshad, saw in preference to any other for those whose conceptions with which the Brahman peoples with himself, the universe of himself. The mumukshu therefore will not try or wish to leave his life before the time, just as he will not try or wish to leave the actions in this life, but only the desire for their fruit. For if he breaks impatiently the thread of his life before it is spun out, he will be no Jivan Mukta, but a mere suicide and attain the very opposite of what he desires.
Yes, thank you. I felt this is so beautiful. I mean, and I see that I don't know whether Rupert Spira read Sri Aurobindo or not, but he uses exactly this metaphor that imagine an actor who,
King
who
Lear
yeah, King Lear and John Smith, yes.
and Johnson Smith,
In
yes.
fact, Sri Aurobindo also uses the name John Smith somewhere else. So I am not sure. I think maybe Rupert Spira may have gone through, or maybe they both had different realizations. I don't know. But yeah, it's quite similar. Yeah. And this, those of us who attend Savitri sessions, we would know that this is what we have been reading, where in Synthesis of Yoga is talking about taking, completely identifying in the witnessing consciousness so that you become master of the body, of the mind, and, of the feelings. So this is what we have been reading also there. Where he says that when he realizes that, oh, I am the actor, he doesn't just break up the play and leaves. He actually continues with even renewed vigor, that I have nothing to lose, it's a play. So, when we take that, and more control comes in that play, in or the role that I am playing, there is more mastery that I can kind of incorporate, because now I know that I'm not the rule. I am something beyond the rule. So yeah, for those of us interested, it's a beautiful read. Some of us may have already gone through these words earlier, but every time I read these words, these are just like, they take you somewhere to delight. Because we don't know any other way, that how do we live if we don't have any desires. So that he clarifies with this concept of Jivan Mukta, that you are, it's not that when the desires are not there, you stop to work, you stop to be, because you realize your being here, the purpose. So you live a non-sticky life. So that can be done even without desires. All the action, the speech, the word, everything is there, the vigor is there, but there is no desire, because desire actually is coming from that sense of incompletion within, but that is not there with the Jivan Mukta. That realization is there, that who we truly are, and yet the continuation of the work is there, so that it can be done more and more in divine light and divine reflection.
I also feel that, like, about this having no desires, of course you encounter, and most of the spiritual mystics would always say about not having desires. And I feel that, of course, that's something that we have to become, that Jivan Mukta. But like, start we have read, like yesterday in Synthesis we were reading that this it has to be a very rigorous training, to kind of train our prakriti and be in touch with our with the purusha. So like for myself, I always feel that I always think about, because I know that there are desires and there are vital desires and desires. And so the first thing that I always do is I know they're there, and rather than really thinking I wish they were not there, what I really do is like I try to think about purifying them, you know. Like just the other day I was, using some social media, and like, of course, the thing with social media is there's always this comparison that comes in when you see something and something that that lack, if you feel in any way, which we all feel in one way or the other, and that's something that you see, and we all know that that's always a disappearance. It is just a false appearance, but still I felt I could recognize that I am jealous there. I felt jealous, and it was a strong sensation of jealousy. But instantly when I catch myself, I thought that okay, this desire is there, and this ill feeling is there as well. Why not I just send good wishes, or feel happy? Okay, this person has it. It's so amazing that she's happy. And immediately I became lighter, because I felt that rather than, like as you said, being in that, be getting lost in those thoughts is what would have followed, and would have taken the whole night, and maybe next day, and then you would have brought yourself down. But it still would have continued. But I, like, immediately, and I was also thinking about these sessions, I immediately thought, why not purify it and be happy? And I felt so happy myself as well, that so that's what I felt as well, that we all read these things, but I still feel that these baby steps, and knowing that that's our end, to be a Jivan Mukta where there is no desire. But let's start with purifying them little by little, little by little.
Yeah, totally. Sri Aurobindo has actually shared on this what you just shared. So we also encounter this in Buddhism, to rejoice in the happiness of others. That's one way of what you were sharing, purifying all the ill will and whatever divisiveness, jealousy, me and her, or whatever may be there. And Sri Aurobindo also, I think in which commentary, maybe in Isha or somewhere else, he talks about like a story form he takes. Two places he talks about this, what you were sharing. So one is that he says that there are, say, two characters, Devdutt and Harishchandra. And Harishchandra is very wealthy, successful, has a lot of property, all that you could want. He has it. Devdutt does not have all that. And he's wondering that, what's happening? I don't have it. He has it. And now you want me to be rejoicing in his happiness? How can I do that? So he says that why would I rejoice on the behalf of Devdutt? I would rejoice because when I am rejoicing, I am not doing a favor to anyone else. I am just identifying myself to the same divine self which is present in Harishchandra as in me. That who is having that success and wealth and everything in Harishchandra? Of course, the divine. And who is enjoying in me? Of course, the divine. So when I enjoy in Harishchandra's happiness, rather than becoming jealous of it, I am actually doing myself a favor, because I am identifying with my divine self, which is in all. It may feel like a big thing. It's not a big thing. We all can do that. What you were talking of, these baby steps. Because when we do ourselves this favor of not following the trail of ill will and jealousy, all these things, we do ourselves a favor, and by side effect, we do favor to others, and others are nothing separate from us. So there, and then another point, he talks about this person. We had read that story in one of the sessions, Hari Mohan's dream, where Hari Mohan is like a devout Krishna Bhakt, and he's again not very wealthy. And then there is another person who is Teen Kodi Seal. His name is Teen Kodi Sheel, and he says that this guy has everything, and I can't be content because he has everything. So Krishna, if Krishna would be there in front of me, I would beat him up. He says that how dare he does these kind of plays. And then Krishna appears because he is a friend of his, so he appears and he says, before tying me up, just I want to show you something. So he takes him, he gives him sukshma drashti, and he takes him into the mind of Teen Kodi Seal. And there he sees a horror happening. that irrespective of outer whatever he has, so much impure, like burden in the head. And then Hari Mohan says that now I understand, and please take me out from his mind, I don't want to be here. So such a horrifying state he saw in the mind of Teen Kodi Sheel. So yes, what you were sharing.
That story also I remember as well. That I always
Yeah.
say that how do I know? How am I sure? Because we know that that till the time we have not reached that state of identifying with the divine, there will be suffering. And I keep myself, okay, maybe not in the sense that I don't see, but there'll be some other sense. So rather than feeling jealous, maybe I have compassion as well. That that so yeah, I remember that story. It was really beautiful because you actually realize that you have these mental images of seeing somebody living a picture perfect life, but actually it's all a mirage. It's just appearance, and so that's also very beautiful.
Yeah, true. And I think through our experiences so far, all of us have, I would say, enough experienced to realize the design a little bit, of this creation, that no one can ever be fulfilled in a thing, a person, in name, a fame, respect. No one. The design is not such. The only way of our fulfillment is fulfillment in divine. So then all the jealousy can disappear in that understanding, all the ambition can disappear, that it can't happen. That's not the design. Yeah. Yeah.
So this understanding is also very important in handling, as Nandini is sharing, this comparison is always there. So one thing which I also baby steps uses, that somebody is good in something which I am not, and I think that then when I understand that everybody has a role in this universe, and this person is the manifestation of that divine, and he or she is meant for this, and let me see for whom I am meant to do this. So I should brush up, or I should have more training in that skill for which I am here. So that also helps in handling the comparison and the envy. Acceptance is the thing. When you accept that this person, the same, you may understand this at a cognitive level, that the same divine is there. You have not reached up to that stage, not perceive, but at least that word is there. In Hindi, there are 3 states. First, it is Vaikhari. First, it is word, then it is meaning, and then it is the third stage is realization. So at least we can start with the Vaikhari, thinking about all these things.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes. In fact, what you just shared, Mother talks about this, that everyone, how everyone has a very unique place in this manifestation. We have often touched upon this, like, the example that I use is like, imagine there is a big puzzle, and each puzzle piece, if you have played puzzles, is very unique. If that is lost, no other puzzle piece can actually fill that place. So Mother talks about this. Mother talks about in terms of spiritual, no, not spiritual, in hierarchy, and she says that hierarchy not in terms of who is superior and inferior. Hierarchy in terms of that each one of us is a very special and unique piece at
In
that particular place. What you were sharing, that if that other person is good at something, to find out the same for myself, that what can I effortlessly or with effort, can do and offer to the world. So yes, that's very, very important. And also, I think Alokda shared in one of the talks that I found it very beautiful, where if you see perfection in others,
Good. Yes.
if you see beauty in others, harmony in others, rather than going in the divisive mode and being jealous because it's me and then the other person, you see the same Maha Saraswati manifesting through different instruments. So if I do a good job, this instrument does a good job, it is of course not me but Maha Saraswati working through it. Same for the other person. So again, when we reflect upon these things, then there is no place for ill will and any poison.
Right.
Yeah. So Vaikhari, as you were sharing, reflecting upon these words, is really, we are blessed that we can do that.
Yes.
Blessed that still the mental state the intellectual capacity is working, we can do that. Yeah, so making good use of
These
that.
words are mantras for us. The more we read it, because in this, you want guidance, these are the best guidance. Instead of asking anybody else, just read and aspire, and you will get answer. You will get your answer. Somewhere you will find some quotation, you open your WhatsApp and you will find that, okay, what you were struggling for, and you have just a right message to start your day with.
Monica, I have a question. Can I ask? Just wanted to ask about this divine will. We keep reading, and most of the prayers and meditation is there. So, I think I've raised this question as well. To know the divine really will, and Taru, even I remember saying that till the time we have this.
I also asked the same question in one of the workshops.
Yes, urge to, kind of this urge to restlessness of this thing, we can never know it. But I remember one of the days I was feeling, and that's completely my reflection on it. That's why I wanted to ask your and everybody else's opinion. Was that I said, isn't divine will is what is happening right now in my life? Because constantly and I felt this because in prayers and meditation, Mother always says that eventually whatever is going to happen is divine's will. The our part in it is that either we collaborate with it, or we remain in our petty self. So I felt that isn't whatever really happening, whatever circumstances we are in, isn't that divine will? Now our part in is it either I accept it that this is really the divine will and give my best, and bring do it perfectly, or play the role the best way as I can, or I keep resisting, saying that oh, this is not right, maybe divine will is something else, and it is my own, it is my life is the creation of my own, and that is why I'm suffering, and divine will is something else that I've not listened. So I just thought of asking and thinking about it.
So one thing is, surely Mother has spoken. Somebody asked Mother that, is it true that always the best thing happens at any point of time? We say, nah, what is happening for the best. And Mother said, it is true that at each point of time, the best is happening to you if you want the divine. That is a very important qualifier for all of us. If we want the divine, then whatever is happening is the right thing. What it means is, and very rightly you have said, what is the divine will, we don't know. So I had searched this, and there is a big thing, but Mother just put 4 essential conditions, and she said that we don't need to be advanced on the path to know the divine will. But whatever she said, I found that it is very advanced. She said the first essential condition is an absolute sincerity. The second is to overcome desires and preferences. The third is to silence the mind and listen. And the fourth, to obey immediately when you receive the order. Now, this is, if you understand each one of them, if you ask me, I think each one of them is a very advanced siddhi. To be perfectly sincere, to overcome desire and preference when you receive the order. That is, many times we think, Mother said, and even Shobinda said, that the divine should obey to us. That if just because we are on spiritual path or we are doing certain practice, so the good has to happen to us. And what do we, our definition of good is usually material good or what we desire, usually. But what happens is, if we reflect over a long period of time, at times we will see that what had been outwardly good is inwardly have been very, very bad. What has been outwardly cases of failure has, even materially or otherwise, have been occasions for us to rise to greater heights. And now the second thing is to know the divine will. Yes, second thing, what happens is we actually do not know the divine will. And at our stage and in this world, it is not the only divine will works, as Mother Sri Aurobindo has spoken so many times, because this world is currently imperfect. It is in a state of evolution. We all are progressing, and the world is also progressing, 100%. There's no doubt. As we progress, it is, even if we look at our life, as we progress, as we grow up, we are able to refine ourselves. We are able to receive higher vibrations better. We are able to act better based on the directions that we receive. And that is something, based on all our relative experiences, we can say with confirmation. But the first level, we don't know anything. Then we learn, we try to read, speak, talk to ourselves. Slowly our intuitions develop. Slowly we understand, we at times receive directions, and then we, as Mother is saying, that we completely receive the directions and act based on that. Till that time, what happens is, this world is imperfect and we don't have discernment. If we say that whatever is happening is the right thing happening, we don't know whether we are acting as per the divine order or the evil forces around us. Because in this world, currently, there are forces of darkness. So as per these Indian scriptures, as well as many of the ancient other scriptures, they created this concept of dharma. This dharma means householder has a certain dharma, man has a certain dharma, woman has a certain dharma, whatever be it. And they codified it in some manner so that we act according to the law. And if we reflect, the essence of those is primarily, even Vivekananda shared a story that if you are a sannyasi, you be the king of Tyag. If you are a householder, you live for others. Even to some extent, I have seen, even Mother has said the same thing, that people who are living a spiritual life should aspire for God. People who are living a, I forgot what's the exact term she used, whether householder or something. She said, you have to live at the service of others. Almost the same thing even Mother has said. Which means is, the moment we are selfless, and that is also an experience lived, the moment we are selfless, or we try to be selfless, not egoistically, but truly selfless, we will see half or 70% of our problems are resolved. And that's a very beautiful practice which you said a few minutes back, is about the sublimating the desire in one way, or sublimating jealousy. In Indian theories, there are some practices, and these are very, very important. They say that whenever you have a desire, suppose you have a desire to eat something, let's say you have a desire to eat sweet, instead of eating yourself, if you feed that to others, that desire will go. And there is an occult science behind it. What happens is, there are vital forces which want to get satisfied through us. The moment these vital forces get satisfied through others, it leaves you. That's the occult truth behind such a practice. Similarly, like even many other similar practices are there. So the thing is, if we follow whatever Mother Sri Aurobindo has said, and I would say that if we follow the basic thing, that Mother's tiny booklet is there, Ideal Child. If we have, I'm sure Monica ji will have it readily. And if we follow whatever she has written as an ideal child and just look at it and try to do whatever she has said, I think that is more than enough, not only to start, more than enough for even advanced people, I would say. And what will happen is, once we try to, nowadays we see so many things about values, mission, goal. If we try to, I would say, compare whatever actions we are taking against the ideals that Mother has given in the ideal child, automatically we will be able to improve a lot. And slowly, 100%, we will be able to progress, understand that what, at least we know that what Mother wants from us, then 100% we will also know what Divine wants from us. That is something which came to me very, very spontaneously as you raised this point.
Thank you. Can you give the link of what you were just sharing the screen?
Yeah, I'll share it. Yeah, I think I was trying to find what actually Jishnuji was sharing, but it
That
stumbled upon something else. So Jishnuji, if you can maybe put the link in.
yeah,
That book I have, Ideal Child.
Yeah. Ideal child
I'll
is
go.
right. What I can do is this. What I said. I don't have the ideal child readily with me. I just shared in the prayers and meditation that link. That is it difficult to know the divine will, which Mother said. Monica ji, maybe you can share about the ideal child. It's very beautiful and very basic, I would say, elementary, but absolutely crystal clear. And I think it applies to children as well as to all of us.
Yeah, anyone else wants to add on? Okay, so I think in the beginning, Nandini had also shared something herself, that in restlessness we can't know the divine will. So I think that's a very beautiful baby step amongst all others that Jishnuji was suggesting. That I think this is something very simple and practical. We can, if we are truly sincere, I think that's the point, that if we are truly sincere that I do want to know the divine will and work accordingly, then won't I also put effort in making my mind silent and receptive? I would. And in that silence and that spaciousness, it is impossible that it does not get revealed.
Yes. So one very simple practice, and I must say I am not able to practice it always. But Mother said, and it is always we know the medicine, we may not eat it. So that's the thing. And Mother said, for all actions, always step back before taking any action. Naturally, all times it's not possible, but I am sure in our course, what we face, we can try to do. She always said that before you speak, think what you're speaking. Before you take an action, take a step, just take a step back and see what you're doing. I think often, and Mother has spoken very beautifully that to children, she said that when you are in a crowd of people, you automatically do certain stupidities. You lie, and 100%. We have also seen when we are in a crowd or we are in a crowd of people, at times we get carried away. So many things have happened in course of our lives or others' life that I know people get carried away. And why is it so? Because they were not reflecting. They forgot their goals, which happens every day to all of us.
Yeah.
But I'm just sharing that if we try to step back, and it's very difficult, I can tell you, if we try to step back and reflect even for a moment, it helps us to stop many stupidities.
Yeah.
First of all, nothing is stupidity, but Mother used the term. I would say but the thing is, all lessons are expensive.
Yeah. But still they are so cheap, no? Parallelly, paradoxically,
Yeah.
cheap and expensive at the same time. I think one Jetsunma was also suggesting one day that to begin with just stepping back that you were sharing. So wherever we are able to easily step back, to begin there first. There may be times when something with which I'm too attached, there I may not be able to do that stepping back that quickly and easily. But there may be things in which I can step back without too much trouble. So there we should make that initiative.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like it grows like a muscle on exercise. And I was reading, so there one monk, he was Ramakrishna Mission monk, and he said that you cannot take large decisions suddenly. You have to be very, very clear. That is, you have to take decisions in your daily life, small decisions very clearly. Once you do that, you will be able to take large, big decisions. And the same thing, what Monica ji said is very right. First, one activity. I wouldn't even say for a period of time, one activity that we should choose, which we can want to do mindfully, like brushing of teeth or something very simple, or by reflecting. And what happens is, it is like a seed, and by practice we are nourishing that seed to make it in a sapling, and slowly that grows. It is for any practice. If we have anyone followed, you will see that it has a beginning and slowly it grows by practice. That's why we call it practice.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe today we can pause here, and before we leave, let's take a moment of silence to ourselves and sharing all the merit accumulated through collective reflection, gathering, reading of these beautiful words, sharing the merit with all the sentient beings. May everyone be well and truly joyous and progressive. May everyone be able to rejoice in this life. Thank you, everyone, for sharing and listening and reflecting. Thank you.